Hi, this is Marc Champ here from Wharf Financial. I'm here with Joe Taylor, who is one of our brokers at Wharf. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having us. How you doing?
Very good, thank you. Very good. So today we're going to talk about HMOs, and we know you do a lot of HMOs. So first of all, do you want to give us a little bit of background to yourself? What have you been doing?
Yeah, okay. So my background sort of spent the best part of 10, 11 years in the city, working in and running some sort of small boutique investment firms, all sort of based around property, working directly with property investors. I then had a stint working on the lending side of things, and that's when I then sort of decided to take that newfound knowledge, shall we say, and my experience as a broker, and go into this field. And obviously that's where I met you, and that's where I joined Wharf.
I see. Very good, very good. So obviously you get a lot of different types of customers come to you and a lot of different types of investments that you look at. But one of the things I know you look at a lot is HMOs. So what makes an HMO a good investment?
Well, I think it can be a very lucrative investment. So they're high yielding for obviously having multiple rooms in one property as opposed to letting it out as a single let, just a regular buy to let. That seems to be the draw, shall we say, for most investors wanting to see a higher yield from their investment. I think also a lot of my clients, where they're looking for very specific properties. So they'll, for example, if you're the kind of guy like many of my clients, will aim for a terrace 3-bed house and they can convert that into a 6-bed HMO. They often then go for a higher spec with all en suites in the bathrooms, etc., etc. And what that allows them to do, not only to see that sort of lucrative high yield, but also getting good value add on their property. So their overall equity stake is strengthened. They see the value of the property increase through the work that they're doing by converting it into the HMO. And then obviously on the back end, if you're looking to grow a portfolio, what that allows you to do is to refinance and pull money out and then go again. If you're looking to go into multiple properties, which I suppose is the goal for a lot of property investors, especially in the HMO market.
Sure, yeah. And I suppose one question that would come up is, would it have any bearing on it being an HMO, the difficulty in getting a loan?
Not necessarily. No, obviously what that does do is in some way, in our respect anyway, as a broker, it narrows in on who are the better lenders to go to. If it were a single dwelling as opposed to a multi-room buy-to-let for the HMO, then that might sort of send us down the avenue of different lenders. But I think, we would say this, but if you're using a good broker who knows where to go to, it doesn't necessarily increase the level of difficulty. And in some respects, with certain lenders, it doesn't make the biggest difference in rate either.
I see. And so what's the one question customers ask you about HMO investments?
Well, I would say the most common question I get asked from the portfolio guys, at least, will be, how can I obtain a commercial valuation on a, let's say, yield-based calculation on my HMO as opposed to purely a bricks and mortar? Yeah. And I think I get that quite a lot. And I've got a few different clients that are now growing their HMO portfolios and understanding how to go about that. And I think it's important to then work with good brokers and for the investor themselves to sort of almost educate themselves in how to invest into HMOs by unlocking the ability to gain commercial valuations. Again, it allows you to pull more out of the back end and certainly helps towards growing that portfolio stronger and ultimately quicker.
Excellent. Okay. So what would you say people could do to give themselves the best chance of getting an HMO loan?
Okay. I think communication is certainly the one, and relationships. So, for example, as your broker, let's say it's us in this instance, if we're then going to deal with the lender, we're going to come back to the investor and explain what needs to be done, how quickly we need to get certain things over, and not delaying that process, keeping that line of communication open, being available, definitely makes a big difference, I should say. But also even things like having a good working relationship with a solicitor, for example. If you're growing a portfolio, if it's your first one, it may be a bit different. So maybe take some advice from someone with some experience on a good solicitor that's familiar with that process and working in HMOs. But once you have relationships with a broker and a solicitor, that can definitely speed things along and make life a hell of a lot easier, as opposed to you not knowing what you're doing, having to sort of run around and work out what you've got to do to get the job done. I think that's the key ultimately, is having good working relationships and keeping the communication lines open.
Yeah, I do tend to agree. I think communication with all the property professionals makes a transaction run as smoothly as it can. So from what you're saying, as I understand it, HMOs make great investments. There's no real barriers to entry, and you've got the ability to make good money out of it. Obviously, investments can go up or down, but there is the best way of giving yourself the best chance to make money is to keep the communication up and make sure you've got the right people around you. So if people want to get hold of us at Wharf Financial, they can find us at Wharf Financials all through social media. They can also email us at info@wharffinancial.co.uk. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Wharf Academy, and please feel free to get in contact. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.